and this is a great one because we do this annually, but today we're challenging each other, everyone, that everything we talk about is tied in with the queer life and being gay. So you know what, Mark? It's raining out. It's raining men.
Right. And since everything is gay, let's play our new little pride song. Everyone is gay, gay, gay. We love the gays. Everyone is gay, gay, gay. We love the gays.
Oh, we love the gays.
We had that commissioned specifically because it's Pride Month, and I'm into it. Like some years I haven't been because I think it was just, we were just kind of getting assimilated, and I'm like, I'm not into it this year. But they hate us. I mean, they hate us. They're losing their shit because some sports teams are still doing Happy Pride Month. Some corporations are still doing Happy Pride Month. These people, the MAGAs and the evangelicals, they thought they erased us. They thought they had us on the run. But you and I are here to say, bullshit. We are not on the run.
And all of those listening to us, right? And I saw too, Mark, sometimes every year I have a little different response to it. Some years I'm mad at companies that are doing t-shirts in stores when they're not really usually queer friendly. Some years this and that. But this year I have never seen more Happy Gay Pride stuff from elected officials on the good side, from corporations, from nonprofits. It just seems so genuine in their social media posts at the beginning of June. I'm seeing so many gay clips of joy, like companies posting clips from the past that just have gay themes. And yesterday I saw that in New York City, New York is 5 boroughs, right? People forget about the city being 5 boroughs. I know you used to always advocate that when you lived over in Astoria, but ballroom performers representing the 5 boroughs battled each other with council members and cultural leaders of the city as judges. It was all in City Hall. It was a big old giant ball. Everyone is gay, Mark. Everyone is gay today.
Everyone is gay today, whether they like it or not. We're just making them gay.
We're just
now,
gay.
Personal stuff. I got a super big event coming up in September. I know it's really early, but I put a little video on my page with author Kim Cook, who I helped her write her memoir, and now we're like doing these double author events. It's kind of fascinating.
Nice.
I did not expect to be doing this, but she hooked us up with a vineyard. It's the Federal Swiss Winery. We live on like a mile from them, very close to them. They're a big operation, and so we're going to be doing a book event, and she's got an artist. She's going to show his work, and they have music and wine and food in September. It's going to be huge. I'm so excited about that.
That's cool.
I got to tell everybody. And my friends will be there. It's going to be a sort of non-negotiable.
Well, that's great. That's what you got?
Yeah, we're going to Boston next week, and everything's good. I don't really have any complaints, and I'm just super gay.
Me too. And we met as gays, and we're still gay all these years later. I was thinking about it. I read a statistic yesterday that people that have been friends more than 20 years, only 90%. If you said someone over 20 years, do you have a friend that's that you've had for 20 years? 90% of people will tell you they can't do it. They can't think of someone. And I'm grateful for so many of my friends, yourself included, that I've known 30, 40 years. And that doesn't necessarily come with age. It comes with quality of friendship. So super glad. I say this too, making it gay. Like I have very few gay male friends. Mario, my friend who texted me this morning, we caught up. He's out in Pittsburgh. And that's just, as far as gay men, I have just a handful of them. So that's good.
Well, that's okay. It is what it is. And I don't have a lot of friends that I've known super long. There's you and Kenny and my friend Jerry and Michael Lohman, who I moved to New York City with. But I mean, I know people like Frank's got friends that he's known since he was in diapers, since he was in nursery school. He keeps friends for many, like decades and decades. I don't have any friends from where I grew up in Indiana. None of them.
Yeah, well, now that's an interesting thing. I don't think mine go back that far. How many of those nursery school friends are queer? I mean,
for Rick, for Frank, none of them. There's
really?
Lisa. They're all women. It's Lisa, Vicky, Cindy. It's all women.
It's a long time. That's a great friendship thing. Speaking of friends, I've been really fortunate. My friend, who was a friend of my dad, his name's Craig Spalding. He's a restaurateur here in town, and he's been around. He goes way back. He's been arrested, I don't know, 75 times because he's a big political activist and stands on the right side of things. Also a straight man, but he was a good friend of my dad's. My dad's been gone over 30 years. Now he's a good friend of mine that I live in Madison, and we've reconnected. And he works at a bar right up the street, Tailwinds, which is in the Doubletree Hotel. So lately, on my personal page, I've been hanging out at a bar which serves business travelers. So it's just really fun to see the regulars and develop those friendships. I met a guy named Cody who's from Texas, Corpus Christi. He's here for 9 months. He's been sucked into my friend group, which, as you know, is mostly women, mostly straight women. And that's been really fun. But last night I met a woman, Mark. Her name is Maria, and she was talking about her 40-year friendship with a gay guy from Milwaukee who's coming over to see her because she's from Phoenix now. She flew into town and she's doing a family get together. Her name is Maria, but we were talking politics, and she told me her new name for Donald Trump. And I just want to get off my chest this morning before we move on with the show, because I'll never talk about him again on the show. But I want to shout out to Maria. She calls him the little pecker, power hungry pea brain. That's a good
I
name.
like it. It's very alliterative. Lots of peas.
Yeah, she made me repeat it 10 times because it sounds good. Yeah, little pecker, power hungry pea brain. So that's our president.
I like it.
Thanks, Maria. And nice to meet you, Maria.
And the
All right.
Well, the news is gay too this week. Like you said, everything is gay. So let's
get ready for the news, but with a twist.
Twist. The story's got a twist.
You won't believe what you just missed.
Pride is everywhere this month, Rick, as we just mentioned. It's bringing major celebrations in Los Angeles on June 14th, Chicago on June 20th and 21st, San Francisco on the 27th, and New York on the 28th. With international events in Paris, Rome, Sao Paulo, and Tokyo. The theme for New York this year is For All of Us, a nod to Marsha P. Johnson, her quote. If you know who Marsha was, she was one of the original trans street activists, along with Sylvia Rivera, who I met. And Marsha was murdered. But anyways, she said, there is no pride for some of us without liberation for all of us. Thank you so much. Kenya's High Court ruled for trans rights. Love this. But Kenya, who would think that? Their trans rights advocates won a major court victory in Kenya in May when the High Court ruled in their favor, with Justice Bahati Mumwebwe writing that the silence and delay cannot defeat rights. A landmark moment for visibility on the African continent. Love it. The Netherlands got its first gay prime minister in February. Now, this goes back to February. Rob Jetten was sworn in as the first gay prime minister of the Netherlands. A historic milestone, another one, for LGBT representation. Europe moved to ban conversion therapy, which I love, just as our Supreme Court. These reactionary political operatives on the court, as you know, recently struck down bans on conversion therapy in this country because nothing says, whatever, like torturing children. But anyways, Europe is moving to ban it. The Council of Europe adopted a resolution by 71 to 26 calling for a ban on conversion therapy across Europe. California protects LGBT seniors in care facilities. Very dear to my heart. You know that. In a unanimous decision, the California Supreme Court upheld anti-discrimination protections for LGBTQ residents of long-term care facilities that require staff to use residents' proper names and pronouns, and that it does not violate their free speech. If you don't want to work with queer people, get the fuck out. Get another job. Get another goddamn job. Because especially our elderly are extremely vulnerable. This has been going on forever. Like, a lot of them go back in the closet just to be in a nursing home. Fuck you. Yep. And gay TV is having a moment on streaming. I mean, our new correspondent, Prance, has a different opinion on this. But June brings some genuinely exciting queer content. AMC Plus launches season 3 of the gay vampire drama Interview with the Vampire, and now rebranded as The Vampire Lestat. And on June 7th, Lestat tells his own story through a musical documentary. I've been seeing clips of whoever is playing Lestat singing. It's quite interesting. That's what I got. And then, I'll get to our new correspondent. But do you have any gay news? You got any gay stuff?
Just a few things. Toy Story 5 is in production, coming out. I think it's great that Bad Bunny is doing one of the characters.
Bad Bunny's gay?
No, but he's so gay friendly. He says he's fluid. I mean, right?
Got me excited.
He's the new gay. He's the gay we should be thinking gay. Like back then we were Some of us were in the closet, you and me, not so much, but some of us were dealing with HIV/AIDS, which we'll talk about later. We could be remiss without talking about that, which is kind of a thing that brought you and I together. Fighting that and having friends. So many gay things, but Bad Bunny represents it. He's like, am I not? I don't really care. But they said it was a blast working with him. Recording sessions were described as wonderful and fun. Man, being around gay people is fun. We know that. We're also, that's what people want to be our friends. Hey, by the way, Ken Bryan, shout out. He texted me good morning while I'm talking to you. And I took a picture and I said, hey, we're recording the podcast. And he says, love that guy. Talking about you, Mark McNeese.
Meaning, oh, thank you so much. My hair, everything, loves everything. I'm losing weight. I'm really super skinny. So keep going.
Okay. Oh, another big news thing. I love this. Madonna at 67 surprised everybody in Times Square.
Big news. Yeah, our friend was there. Our friend Michael was there.
What did he say?
He said it was fun. I mean, I think it's great.
It's so fun. So it goes back to one day I was looking at my apps, and sometimes I use Grindr and sometimes I don't. Mostly I use Grindr, admittedly. I'm not going to lie. It's a gay dating site, or that's what it was, but it's really a hookup thing. I use it because I hang out at the bars now. I told you at my friend's bar, and I want to see what business travelers are gay or not. So it's fun. It's a guessing game because it shows how close they are. And we're like, oh, that guy's sitting at the bar. That guy's in his room. That guy's just pulling up in an Uber. But all of a sudden one day, my app turned pink. Just like the other day, I don't know if I mentioned, but Spotify turned into a disco ball. And they're saying that's just in honor of its so many years and it's kind of celebratory. Well, the Grindr app is known for its yellow and black colors. It turned pink. And it turns out because it's a Madonna takeover on Grindr. Yes, indeed. So even when you write someone a message on Grindr, it's got a Madonna background in pink. And yeah, so she showed up in Times Square to do a surprise concert for everybody as a promotion for Grindr, by the way. And I thought it was really good. I love that, she's one of those artists that's never turned her back on the community that helped make her who she was,
Right. I remember when Madonna was doing AIDS dance-a-thons back in the 80s.
Oh,
so I've always loved her for that. Whatever else has happened, just like Fauci. Dr. Fauci cared about us. He was one of the few people who gave a shit that we were dying. So,
right.
Fuck MAGA and their Fauci, all their Fauci hate, fuck them. But Madonna's great.
Yeah, and Lady Gaga, there are artists out there, Bad Bunny, that have never said a bad thing or done something like, we had to have our moment of anger with Donna Summer, for instance. Things happen. But the Grindr thing also, and the Madonna thing is also a promotion of Confessions too. Confessions on a Dance Floor, or whatever it's called. She's doing part 2 to it. And then the last news story here out of Wisconsin is our governor is retiring and getting out. So that leaves about 8 Democratic contenders. A lot of attention. Fox News actually did a story on Fran Hong, who's running. She is a socialist. I've talked about it on the show before. She's Korean. And I was sitting at the bar the other night. When I say the bar, I mean Tailwinds again. And there were 2 people from Korea with a video camera. So I engaged in a conversation with them. And it turns out they flew in from KBS, Korean Broadcast Service, to do a story on her. And then they sent it to me because, of course, I keep friendships. And it was a really cool story. It was all in Korean, and I was able to get up and share it. But this is big news because with Evers leaving, who's our governor, and Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, and the Senate Majority Leader Devin Lamoa leaving, they're all getting out of politics. They're all leaving, retiring, moving on. That makes it particularly rare occurrence in which the state's top 3 leadership positions will be vacated at the same time. Now, here's why it's important. Wisconsin, there's always an eye on Wisconsin. The governor, of course, has veto power because there's never been a superpower in the House. But what may happen now, fortunately for our Democratic leadership, unfortunately, we've always had a Republican House led by this guy who was crazy, Robin Vos, who never allowed a Democrat to introduce legislation for all the years he was in. Now they say, Mark, the House is going Democrat, and we may have a Republican named Tom Tiffany that beats all 8 of these candidates for Democrats. So it'll be interesting. Once again, Wisconsin's politics, as you know, are so crazy. And we want this because there are so many mean folks that go after the queers still here in Wisconsin. And Dina Nina, who's been a guest of ours on the show a couple times, is running, got enough signatures getting in the ballot. She would be our first trans elected official in the assembly. So yeah, hopefully Wisconsin, everyone is gay.
We're hoping and we're praying. And my screensaver on my iPhone is now rainbow, which I really like.
That's nice.
It's like I said, the more they've just been so goddamn over the top with the hatred. And I'm like, okay, here's a rainbow, shove it up your ass. So Um, oh, what was I going to say? Oh, because it's doing the news, right? Our new
Yes.
correspondent. Intense negotiations, Rick. This was really delicate.
No, you
talking
were tough this week.
back and forth with their agents for like days. But we finally got Prance Thunderbottom exclusively on the Twist podcast. Now they're going to do a little worst in show. It's called Worst in Show. Their segment is called Worst in Show. They, by the way. That's why there's not more than one. Prance is they.
Yeah.
And we're gonna play their first the first clip this week. Now I put it on Facebook this morning, saying we want our listeners and our fans to say what beat do you want Prance to cover. This
Nice.
week it's just a few gay political things, but should Prance be doing? Because I don't want to rotate. Should Prance be doing culture and entertainment? Should Prance be doing food, politics? You let us know what you want, and then we'll get back to Prance, and maybe you and I the three of us can do a Zoom call or something, and we'll figure it out. But here's Prance's very first Worst in Show.
Snap! Welcome to Worst in Show with your quirky correspondent, Prance Thunderbottom. This is your first Pride Month edition. There'll be 4 more, where we celebrate by taking stock of everything going wrong. First, streaming services have marked Pride Month by rearranging their homepages to highlight existing LGBTQ content while producing almost nothing new. And Netflix's biggest gesture is a documentary about noted transphobe Martina Navratilova. Read the room, people! Next. A new Gallup poll shows support for same-sex marriage has dropped from 71% in 2022 to 65% today, and the percentage of Americans who find gay and lesbian relationships morally acceptable has hit its lowest point since 2016. And this week's Worst in Show award goes to Republican support for gay people, which just dropped to its lowest level since 2010. No surprise there, at a time when rainbow crosswalks are painted black and trans people are told they don't exist. This is Prance on the dance floor of life.
I love Prance.
I think Prance is fun because they're on the dance
It's okay,
floor.
Rick. It's okay. We can, it's gonna happen. We're gonna
Sorry.
slip up.
Yeah, dance floor of life though. I like that one, don't you?
Prance is cool with it. So, absolutely. And Prance is going to be on every single week. But we just need to decide on a beat. And they were totally cool with seeing what our listeners have to say about that. Because we are about our listeners right now.
Yeah, we want to see. I mean, Prance is going to be very busy this month. I wish he could be with us all the time, Mark, but I know this has cost you a lot in the negotiating world, and a lot of our money goes to him. Them.
Rick, come on. Now, also, Prance is going to be filling in for Joe, too, at the end of the show. So stay tuned. Now, I got fun facts.
Fun.
Yeah, I got gay fun facts. The first Pride was a march. No floats. It was all about that. And I've been saying for years, get back to marching, people. With the floats and all this glitter crap. I'm sorry, but it did not do us any favors. And it lulled us into this idea that we're here. Like they like us. They really, no, they've never stopped hating us. And they're a lot more powerful now. So let's get back to marching. The mother of Pride was closeted at work. I didn't know that. Brenda Howard, known as the mother of Pride for coordinating that first march, worked as a clerk in New York City mayor's office while being completely closeted about her bisexual identity. The Stonewall riots gave her the courage to come out. Love her. The rainbow flag had 7 colors, as I know you and I might have known that. The original one, when Gilbert Baker created it in 1978, it had 7 colors: hot, pink, red, orange, yellow, green, turquoise, and violet. It didn't achieve global popularity as a queer symbol until the mid 1990s, and I think they just narrowed it down to fewer, not out of exclusion, but because it was just too much. It was just too many colors. Friends of Dorothy was secret code. I love Friends of Dorothy, and when we used to go on cruises, maybe 10 years ago, not too long ago. The cruise ships, they almost always have an LGBT meetup for people. Like they got a AA meeting called Friends of Bill, W, and all this other shit. So you get on a cruise ship and you look at your agenda and it'll say LGBT meetup, 9:00 at some bar, some lounge. But it used to be called Friends of Dorothy, and I loved it. I loved getting on a ship and looking at their little manifest, and it would say Friends of Dorothy, 7:00 at the at the, Yippee Dippy Lounge. They don't do it anymore. I miss it. Sao Paulo hosts the world's largest gay pride parade. I'm not too surprised that. Today it draws 3 to 5 million people every year. Oh my gosh. And the word drag has a very old and glamorous history. Now this is not controversial, but there's dispute about where drag comes from. The term drag comes from. This says it originated from the old British dialect phrase "dressed resembling a gallant," which referred to men dressing flamboyantly. But I have also heard that came from the skirts. Back in the Molly houses, back in the 1800s, they were called Molly houses in London, which were basically gay places where they could go and cross-dress, and the gowns would drag across the floor, so they called it drag. We don't know. We may never know where the word drag originated, but I love it. And then I like the idea that everything is drag. You got your little 9 to 5 suit and tie on. That's drag. Everything is drag. So that's it for the fun facts this week.
My fun facts. This week I had a great conversation with my friend Jake. We were just talking about life expectancy, because this week I was really hit by the fact that the average male in America only lives till 74. Not to scare you, Mark.
Oh God,
that means
don't say that, please.
I know.
I'm going to be
I are in a countdown.
Don't say it.
And then everyone defends it like, well, Rick, you're so intellectually stimulating and your brain's working, and you go to yoga and stuff. What's up?
I said, do they know you?
They listen to our show, Mark. Of course. Hey, do you have that fart machine?
No. Well, I am a fart machine.
Oh, there you go. And then we were talking about women, I think it's 82 or 83. But anyway, then a friend had overheard and they added to the conversation. They said, yeah, but with straight couples, when they get married, women's life expectancy in the United States in general goes down and men's go up, because the women are getting men into emotional situations like seeing their family and making sure you contact your kid when they're off to school, and also setting their doctor's appointments, stuff like that. Because most men, I will say, and I will throw it on the show, can just kind of be baseline lacking of those things. Whereas women's life expectancy goes down mostly because of domestic abuse. So it's a serious subject. Yeah. And so not fun. But then we went in, Jake and I, we were playing with Claude and looking at statistics like, well, what about gay couples, right? Like, and they say so if you rate everything, like a gay single man, a straight single man, a gay single woman, couples, whatever. The highest life expectancy, Mark, is if you are a married lesbian to another lesbian. They live the longest.
My friend Jean is going to love that. Jean and Cindy.
It's really interesting. So I thought, well, that'd be true of gay men too. Well, it's not, but they have straight couples beat, I think, from what I know. The worst situation, the worst life expectancy is of a gay single man. So Rick Rose isn't faring too well. Isn't that sad?
Although, I mean, they didn't factor this in, but I think trans people have notoriously short life
I didn't
expectancy.
include that, and I do apologize. I didn't include that in the conversation.
No, I know it was.
So I had some fun with it though, Mark. I thought, a lot of celebrities. So I'm going to give you 5 pairings of couples that would be a gay man and a lesbian, because a lot of them were in the closet back in their early days of coming out on the thing. But what if they just paired up as 2 gays and had the power of saying, hey, we're not going to be out. We're going to say we're a couple, we're married, and we're both gay. So I paired up Anderson Cooper and Rachel Maddow, 2 brilliant news anchors who would absolutely outwonk each other at the breakfast table, right? Jim Parsons and Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh my God. Okay.
Big personalities, big laughs, right? Big opinions.
She's such a downer. I love Rosie, but she's such a downer. Go ahead.
But that'd be great at trivia night, right? George Takei and Lily Tomlin.
He has a husband for many, many, many years. Do not break them up, Rick.
And Lily's had a wife, Jane Anderson, right? But the ultimate power couple of wit, activism, and longevity. And then here's 2 more that I love, and I think they're both spouse too. Although there's rumors about Sir Elton John having some troubles with David, but how about pairing back in the day, Sir Elton John and Katie Lang?
I like it. He's a lot older than she is. I didn't know they were having troubles. They've been together a long time. They're not going to get divorced.
I don't know it to be true.
Why would you get divorced at this point?
I know. I don't think it's absolutely true. We better watch it, because they'll be calling us, because they're going to be listening to Prance,
Well, I did one time I did talk about Elton John adopting on a podcast, not this podcast. And somebody reached out to me who has a a show in London and said, "Come on the show and talk about it." I said, "Okay."
Oh, that's very cool.
That was fun. Reach.
Yeah,
I've always
and
had
Katie
reach.
Lang, is paired with many people musically, but I'm talking about like really pairing. They're flamboyant, fearless. And the last couple, I would love to see Cherry Jones and Ian McClellan. Gandalf meets the Tony-winning queen of the American stage, Shakespearean gravitas.
Yeah, they're both great. They're both great actors.
They're fun. Yeah. So that's my fun facts.
I love it. On to the survey. We did have a survey. In the summer months, where do you want to be? And the question was on the beach or in an air-conditioned indoors. 62% said on a porch with a cool beverage. 50% said floating in a swimming pool. 12% said in the mountains or outdoors where the air is clean and cool. 25% said inside with the air conditioner on. Nobody said baking in the sun. We go to the beach because Frank loves to go to the beach, and like 3 or 4 times a year we go to the beach. I'm fine as long as I'm under an umbrella and there's a boardwalk. Because I can't be a sun person.
I totally get that. Yeah.
That was the survey. I don't have another one for next week. Maybe Prance will come up with something.
We should
actually Prance's beat, like what Prance should be covering. That's the survey.
That is our survey. Like, that's important. That's content,
Now lead us into the interview you got with David Hylan. We've been waiting a while for this, so tell us all about it, and we're going to listen in.
Well, yeah, thanks. So last week we had kind of mentioned it as a precursor to the interview that we like to do, catching up with, where are they now kind of things. And David Hylan was someone we've had on our show a long time ago. He lived in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's where I met him. He ran the Deaf Action committee, whatever it's called. Sorry, David, who's listening to the show as I talk. Can't think of the name of it. Seems like so long ago. David and his partner, his husband, who actually hails from Sun Prairie, just up the street from me, met in Shreveport. I didn't know there was that Wisconsin connection. They have both moved down to Mexico and have a life there. But when we had David on the show, Mark, he had just come out with a documentary called Small Town Rage, because he was part of a group of many people that I actually know in Shreveport who were part of ACT UP and got out there and they showed their small town rage when the HIV/AIDS epidemic happened, and it chronicled ACT UP activism in the Deep South. Well, now Dr. Hylan documents this in a book, and this interview that you're about to hear really talks about the research that he put into it, why it's still important to do this kind of work. He will, I'll point out here, have a release of the book called Small Town Rage, Fighting Back in the Deep South on June 27th in Shreveport, Louisiana. So if anybody's around, it'll be at Central Arts Station there. You can just pop out to me or Mark and we will have more information on it. But let's listen in to this conversation that we recorded while David was in Mexico and I was here in Wisconsin.
Here we go.
Well, I look back, David, I don't remember even how many years it's been, but last time we talked, it was the same subject, but we talked about the documentary. Today, we're talking about the release of your book. Are you excited?
Very, very. It's someone asked me the other day how long this process had been, and we started it in 2012. So that's 14 years ago, right?
Wow, that's crazy. And I know since then, of course, most recently you've moved to Mexico, you've retired, and you told me this has been a great retirement project for you.
It has. They asked me if I would write the book initially, and I was kind of dismissive of the idea. And then I told Troy, my husband, a little over a year ago, I said, it's not like I have anything to do, so I think I'm gonna write it. So I got started, and I have to say, everybody that we had initially contacted for information about their experiences and what they remember, they were all so welcoming, and the research for the book was a lot more intense, and it went for a longer period of time. And some, I guess probably 14 people I interviewed over 8 times.
Wow.
to get information and then collect documents. There was a lot of documents. There was, I think, 400 and something newspaper articles and about 2,000 photos.
Crazy.
And yeah, it really was, but it was great. I mean, really, it changed me. It changed me. Yeah.
In what way?
Yeah,
Talk
it
about that a little
changed.
bit. Because I was going to ask you, like, is it weird to step back in history? You know, sometimes it's a history, like in this case, that we may want to move on from. So how did it change you, David?
Well, at first, I think my reaction was I was very sad because I was closeted for, even though I participated in things, I was always very hesitant because if you got involved in anything that was gay related, people would automatically assume, oh, well, then he must be gay. And for a closeted person, you know, that is like kryptonite, you know, you don't want to be. So that was my first reaction. But it really changed me in understanding the level of sacrifice that people make for things that they are passionate about. And I found myself several times whenever I would get involved in some kind of issue or anything like that, I would evaluate, are you passionate about this? You know, what are you willing to sacrifice to be able to move this particular issue forward? And of course, most of my stuff is in social justice. And I just think that mentally I go through a lot more of a discerning process to make sure I'm honest, you know, and that I'm doing something for the right reasons.
I love it. What do you want people to take away on that note after reading this book? What do you want people to take away?
You know, it's real interesting that you asked me that because we showed the film. It had a screening at the Louisiana School for Math and Science. And we had an auditorium full of kids. And when the documentary was over, I can't tell you how many kids in the mingling mentioned, we had no idea. We had no idea this was going on.
Oh.
And I thought, oh my God, we've got to educate people because, you know, the adage, if you don't know it, you'll repeat it, you know? And so the book was very much a part of that goal, is that there would be something that would be a document that people could go to and have hopefully an appreciation for what happens in the South when silence controls everything. And that's really, and I say this in the book, the virus, that's all it needed. It needed silence to grow and to spread. And that's really what I hope people take away, is that they have the knowledge about what this group of people did to try to change a whole generation, a city, a state. You know, they participated in national movements, and they were not left in the background. I mean, they took a position in the forefront of everything. One of the people in the book, Robert Darrow, he was written about in the Washington Post about his participation in the National Institute of Health storm, the NIH action. We had lots of articles that were written locally and statewide. about the things that they were doing. So they were involved, and they gave up a lot.
And it's amazing. I know you have a message in there from Mark King, also a Shreveport friend of ours who's gone on, and that you three are still keeping it alive and also doing social justice work in other ways is so inspiring for young folks. And I think that's probably what you experienced at that screening. How can people, I know they can pre-order, it comes in hardcover, comes in ebook and paperback. What's the best way for people to check it out?
Well, basically they just need to go to wherever, they purchase their books. It's available on Apple Books. It's available Barnes and Noble as a Nook. It's available. It will be available at the stores. It's available Kindle, Amazon, and you can get hard copy, soft copy, and ebook on Amazon. So they shouldn't have any trouble finding it. And it's actually in pre-order right now. Nice. They'll release it June 15th. And of course, I can't talk about that without talking about the big launch event, June 27th at the Central Arts Station in downtown Shreveport. Shreveport Regional Arts Council and Friends of the Arts Council have donated the space to hold the event. So
it's going to be great. And Small Town Rage, Fighting Back in the Deep South. If you are around the Shreveport area, I'd advise you to get tickets, go to it, because this is the people were based in Shreveport when all this wonderful action happened. And David, thank you so much. It's nice catching up with you. It's been too long.
I know. And, it was strange because when you and I talked last week, I had just been in Wisconsin.
It's so weird.
I mean, I was there 2 weeks ago, and I just got to do a better job of keeping in touch. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah. Well, no problem.
Thank you for letting me talk about something that I am passionate about, and I think that when we read the story and the experiences of people, I think we'll have a better appreciation for that word commitment, commitment to whatever it is that we're passionate about.
I love it. And that's what we need this day more than ever. I'm also very excited to compare it to, Lance Bass narrated the movie, hearing it from his voice brought something, but reading it from the gentleman yourself who was there in your words is going to really mean a lot to me. So thank you so much.
Great
I really
for you to have that opportunity to catch
You're
up.
welcome.
Great to
Thank
hear
you
about his
Thank
stuff.
It was. And what I love about it is, chronicalizing, archiving, recording our history as a queer community is so very important. And I'm
because
so grateful.
You and I are part of that. We are living history at this point. I mean, that's just, you live long enough, you are history.
True, Mark.
Right. I remember. Remember AIDS. We remember this shit. And it's like, so when people, when I'm on, this is tangential, but I'm on Blue Sky wherever, and like they're all like freaking out about the end of America and the end of democracy, and they're gonna cry and sob and shit. I'm like, I've been through a lot worse shit than that. Whatever happens in this country, I've been through some shit, and so have you. We know what death looks like. We know what it's like to watch our friends become little skinny little bag of bones and die horribly. So don't come at me with this, boo-hoo shit about a country that's always been racist, always been genocidal. It's just gotten worse, but we're gonna live through it now.
So true, Mark. So true.
So true. I'm ready for some hits, baby.
Let's go.
It's a hit.
Now I know we don't agree on this one, Rick, but I'm enjoying Big Mistakes, the new Dan Levy show. I'm giving him a lot of slack, okay, because I love Dan. I love Laurie Metcalf. Laurie Metcalf is like a premier actress, stage actress in this country. Well, I don't know if everybody knows that, but she's phenomenal on stage. She's currently in Death of a Salesman with Nathan Lane, and they said it's a masterclass watching her. So it's got David Levy, Dan Levy, Laurie Metcalf, Rachel Schnott is his sister. It's like a silly show. He's a priest. He's got a boyfriend. They're not closeted, but they don't know. The congregation doesn't know. And there's all this crime stuff, underworld stuff. It's kind of nuts, but I'm having fun with it. Okay, when their mother tasks
And
them
it's
with
got a second season. Yep.
it's got a second season, which I love seeing people succeed at least for two
Me
seasons.
too.
And in the beginning, when their mother tasks them with buying a necklace for their dying grandmother, and they end up getting a necklace that's worth like a shitload of money and was supposed to be going to a mobster. So it goes from there. It's kind of crazy. I'm enjoying it. Frank is like, "Ugh." What do you think? What do you got going with this?
Oh, well, it's funny you say that because this also, I didn't know this movie. I wanted to go see The Tuner. It's getting a lot of attention because it does star Dustin Hoffman, who I haven't seen act in a long time. He plays a character named Harry Horowitz, and he is the mentor to a young man named Nicky. I'm sorry, he's mentor to a young man, yeah, in the movie named Nicky, who is played by Leo Woodall. And he's a character who's a gifted young piano tuner whose heightened hearing draws the attention of criminals who see his talents as useful for cracking safes as well as tuning Steinways. So there's that kind of through line in both of these. How is that gay themed? I don't know, but Leo is good to look at. That's my connection. He was on White Lotus second season. He's a Brit, and he's very, very talented. And I'd be remiss without telling people not to go see The Tuner before it leaves the theaters. And then lastly, I want to shout out to, speaking of Madonna, her ex-husband, Guy Ritchie, has a new movie. It's been out for a little bit. I've seen it twice, once with Mom, once with me. It's called In the Gray. It's really, really good in that what I really love about it, it's about two guys that are like bodyguards for again, it's kind of a mob thing and all that for a young Latina woman. And they're played by Jake Gyllenhaal and by Henry Cavill. And he has them as lovers in the movie. And one scene, you don't know it, and they're two beautiful men that have more of that macho stereotype in characters and in acting, as actors. And at one point, one of them, I think Henry just looks at Jake and says, "I love you." And then it continues. So it's played with a wink. It's never obvious. It's a fun piece of movie making because it's just fun to see how he weaves the gay story in without even having it be a trace of anything. And of course, no sex scene between them. We didn't have to play the heated rivalry thing in this one. It just comes out. But sadly, it only made around $3 million so far. And they say it's his worst opening since 2008. I still like to see his work. So it's called In the Gray. Those are my two recommendations. And then lastly, on the stage front, because you mentioned it's how we met. You mentioned that you love stage. Charles Bush, who we've talked about on the show before, playwright of Vampire Lesbians of Sodom, Psycho Beach Party, The Divine Sister. He's got a new comedy out. It's playing in New York at the West Side Showroom. It's called The Divine Sister. It opened on May 22nd. The story says St. Veronica's indomitable mother spirit is determined to build a new school for her Pittsburgh convent. I would love to see the show. I love Charles Bush. So yeah, my recommendation if you're in New York.
I like it. And then I forgot to add, it's not a recommendation, but I loved Peaky Blinders, the series. I loved it. Did not like the movie just because it was so
Really?
different. Yeah. Did you see it? No.
Yeah.
You saw the movie? It was just, the movie was about three people. It was about
Yeah.
Thomas Shelby, his son, whatever his name was, and Tim Roth. But the series was the series had a whole cast of people that I like, the brother and the late Helen McCrory. It just was really different, and I didn't dislike it. I mean, I love Cillian Murphy. It wasn't my thing. So I got to put that in there.
Yeah, a friend dragged me into it because they had watched the series, and so I had no context. And I like it because I like the acting, but yeah, it wasn't all that. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. You know what's next?
That bugs my ass.
Microdosing. The term microdosing. It's
I
so
use it
trendy
all
now.
the time.
What?
I say it all the time, but I hear you.
No, I mean, I used to. I've said it before with edibles that I microdose. I just take a little bit of them, and I haven't had one for like a couple of weeks. But it's become a very trendy marketing tool, and I don't like it. Like the GLP-1 drugs that I've been taking for a couple of years now, and I'm going to keep taking. But now, like on all the ads I see on Facebook for GLP-1s, there's a million of them. And now they're doing like the skinny dose. Now you can get the skinny dose and you can get the microdose. It's just this trendy, popular bullshit. And in my opinion, with this medication, if you're going to microdose, just stop taking the shit. Really.
Uh,
I think it's a great medication, but come on, man. And I'm just a contrarian. You see my cat behind me. I love seeing James on the,
I do.
but
I love that cat.
but I'm just not into when anything becomes really, really popular, I immediately don't like it. And I don't like the whole I'm microdosing GLP-1. Just stop taking it, man. If all you need is a little drop of it, stop taking the shit. Because that's how I am with THC. I don't have to have it. I microdose because I don't like being stoned, but I don't need it. So it's just the whole hashtag microdose bullshit. I can't stand. That's my bugs, my ass.
No, I in that context for sure. I mean, I use it in the other context because I'm like, I just made some brownies the other day and it was really fun. I did it with my friend Nancy. She's a great baker. She came over, we got a little stoned, and then we made a little brownies, and we were playing with butters. You know, the base of a good edible is to really have a good butter. And so we bought a butter and then we made our own butter, wheat butter, and then. But like everyone's like, you know, with edibles, you have to talk about it because you hand someone one, they're like, well, how many grams are in there or milligrams? And you're like, well, it's 30 milligrams. So I would just, dose it until you feel good. But to your point, come on now, that's stupid. You have a prescription. You don't microdose a prescription. You do what you need with it. So yes,
right. And
I
like
hear you.
like you said, it has a purpose. It serves the word,
Right.
the term, the concept of microdosing is very valid. What I don't like is the marketing of it with medication, especially with GLP-1s. Like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm going to microdose. I'm going to microdose Zepbound. I'm going to microdose Wegovy. It's just like I said, just stop taking it. I mean, if I get to where I only need like a little pinprick of it, why would I use it at all? But anyways, okay. Are we good?
in Wisconsin, yeah, my two things that pissed me off is when we're talking about the pride flag and respecting the flag. Sometimes I'm like, people are too like weird about where a flag hangs, how it hangs. Don't touch it. Don't let it touch the ground. Whatever. Don't let it drag the ground. I mean, all that. I get it. And I get that respect. And I was involved with hanging the indigenous flag for the Ho-Chunk Nation here in perpetuity. And we had to make sure it was below the U.S. flag, but equal to this flag. There's a lot of rules. But this one just pissed me off. A man accused of attempting to set a pride flag. I didn't want to bring any darkness into the show, but this happened up in Outagamie County, coming in the Green Bay area. But the backlash was really, really strong. He's being charged with damage to property, resisting and obstructing an officer, because it's not bad enough to burn a flag that represents a community, but also to fight the fact that you did it and should be arrested for it. So boo there, Mark, boo there. And then I also saw, and I don't know where, I was going to look it up real quick, in Wisconsin, where when they did a gay pride resolution or whatever, someone now said, well, we need to make it the month of the nuclear family. Have you seen that?
Yeah, yes, it's another reason that I decided I'm going to be super ultra alpha gay, because all these little Republican states are doing this cutesy bullshit. We're like, June is nuclear family month, and June is, whatever the hell they're doing. They're doing it because they think they're trolling us. They think that they're like they're taking on the homos, and all they do is they look stupid, number one, and it's just bullshit. It's like, come on, man, please.
Yeah. So on that boo list would be the Indiana governor, Mike Braum, who did this, Tennessee's House, the House, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey, who I just can't stand. She declared June Strong Families Month. Screw them all.
I saw it all. And these are the same people who have voted for a rapist. He's a rapist and a pedophile and a convicted felon and a con man and a decrepit, demented grifter who's just ripping off our treasury. They voted for this man, and then they're going to tell me that June is traditional family month. Fuck you.
Maria will tell you what he is. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Peter Piper picked a peck of little Peters.
Peter Piper little Peters. How many penguins did Peter Piper pop?
Now I've been dropping the F-bomb a lot today. I'm sorry. It's just I'm all fired up. I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
It's good. We're all gay. It's the twist. What's going on? Where are we now on the DL?
We are, well, Joe took the week off, so Prance stepped up and like this is gonna. I just love what Prance gave us. Did not charge extra either for it. I'm really, really
Because
happy
he
about
loves
it.
Joe. They love Joe. They said they love Joe, and they're like, we'll fill in
So
for Joe to have a little vacay.
right, so here's Prance's thing for Pride Month.
Honey, if they can't handle you in sequins, they don't deserve you in a suit. Snap! We didn't choose Fabulous. Fabulous chose us. Snap! You were never too much. You were just too much for the wrong people. Snap!
Everybody's gay, gay, gay. We love the gay.
Snap!
That's Prance's like signature sting. Snap.
He's great. I mean, they're great. They'll be on with us all month, right? So I can tell. I'm going to see Joanne today. By the way, I'm going down to Beloit. I should just tell her to take the rest of the month off, right? Is that
Well,
okay?
you could. I mean, Prance would be happy to do this for Joe, and the feature is going to be it forever. Worst
that's
show
good,
is going to
but
be forever.
I'm going to speak before you speak to them because I really would like some more snaps before the end of the year, the end of the month, if that's okay.
No, that's totally cool. I'm just
You
telling
sure?
you that the feature, Prance's regular feature, is not just for Bride.
I hear you. I hear you. Yes, I hear you.
Now, the final question
Because
from
Mark,
last
we're
week.
not just gay for 1 month.
No,
doesn't
no,
work
we're
that
gay forever. I was born gay.
Yeah, I'm proudly gay.
So June, which means summer, it's another summer thing. We wanted to know, are you a beach person or an I'll watch from the air conditioning person? And if you're a beach person, what's your secret for actually enjoying it? Now, Susie said she's an air conditioner person. I said, like I already told you, I'm okay with the beach as long as I'm under an umbrella or I'm walking on the boardwalk and having ice cream cone. Now, David said beach person, like getting all tan and stuff, just like right out there in the sun. And Trudy said, can't stand the sun, air conditioner all the way. Did you get any other inputs?
No, but I know some of those people, and it makes perfect sense. No, but in general conversation, sometimes I'll take the question of the week and weave it into conversations. And overall, the vibe here in Wisconsin, because we don't use a lot of air, is people would rather leave the door open for fresh air as long as they can before turning on that air conditioner.
Now, I don't have a question. Do you have a question for next week, or you want to
I
just
do,
like,
I do, because I knew you might do this to me.
yeah, put you on the spot?
I like it because I was thinking about the other day. I cannot hum. I just can't hum. Some people can't bake. That's why I called my friend over to bake. So tell us about one thing you wish you could do, but you can't do. Tell us about one thing you would love to be able to do that you currently can't do.
No, but is this like a talent? Because I think we did that.
No, we didn't do a talent. It can be anything. I can't drive a car, but I like to drive a car. I'll
can't
never be able
drive
to run a
car,
marathon.
Rick.
I'd never be able to run a marathon, but I would love to run a marathon. That kind of thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because at church, it was very funny. My pastor this week was talking about, he said, well, I exercise a couple of days a week and whatever, but if I want to run a marathon, what do I do? How do I prep? And he put in his chat GPT, and then he played it on the screen at church. And the first thing it says, do not run that marathon next week. So yeah, I like it.
I get it. I've always wanted to do drag, but I just can't. It's like,
There you go.
It's just, I can't do it.
I get it.
So
well, I like that. That's a nice twist on that answer. Yeah, mine is humming.
I'll word it in a certain way. Now I got quotes.
Okay, and I would love to hum someday. Honestly, I really would. I just can't. I literally can't figure out how to do it. I've been trying
How to hum?
Hum. Oh, not hum. Whistle, 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 whistle. No, I can hum. Whistling. Can't do
Okay.
it.
James Baldwin, the great James Baldwin. Like we've lived in a world that had James Baldwin and Clarence Thomas. I don't get it. But James Baldwin said, not everything, well, of course, Baldwin's dead, but he said, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Love you,
Ooh.
James. Thank you so much.
Love it.
Laverne Cox said, it is revolutionary for any trans person to choose to be seen and visible in a world that tells us we should not exist.
Oof.
Love you, Laverne.
Love it. Mine actually comes from Khalil Gibran, who lived 1883 to 1931, Lebanese American writer, poet, and visual artist. He's known as the author of The Prophet. A lot of yogis follow the Prophet. I love his work because so much of it was prophetic. Like he said a lot of things back then regarding HIV/AIDS and our community before it even happened. And one of my favorite quotes from him is, and contextually put it into place with what I'm saying is, out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. The most massive characters are seared with scars.
I like it. Very inspirational. We need that. We need
it.
lots of inspiration. That's what we do here at the Twist. We inspire people, Rick.
That's right. And it's okay if you have a scar too, because you are a massive character. You're someone that matters.
Yes.
Because
Now
you've been through it.
we're going to close out the week with our commission song. You know, here we go. Are we going?
Everyone is gay, gay, gay. We love the gays. Everyone is gay, gay, gay. We love the gays.
I love it that the song says, everybody's gay. You can hate my guts, but you're gay.
You'd be gay.
We're doing
All
it to
right,
you.
guys.
We're doing it
Have
to
a
you.
gay
Bye,
old time.
everybody. We'll be back next week. We got I think 4 more Fridays in Pride. Oh my God.
Nice. Big Pride Month.
Here we go. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
The Twist podcast is brought to you by YourRightPath.com. That's YourWritePath.com, where every life is a story and each of us is the storyteller. And by Mademark Media, an independent media studio. MademarkMedia.com.
That's twisted.
Welcome to the Twist with Mark and Rick. Always fun, always clicking the best way. Here to stay.
That's twisted.
Images of Josephine all over the place.
Stay tuned.
Accessible to people of all different
Yeah, you
levels.
know it's time to start. Tune in, let's play our part. Coming to you from the heart. Entertainment.
That's twisted.